Hi everyone, I'm Cecil Holston II. I am a licensed master social worker. I have been a licensed master social worker for about 8 years, but I've been a social worker for about 15 years. What I mean by licensed master social worker is I do therapy. So the best way to say it is I'm a therapist, a mental health therapist at that. I work with men, I work with children, I work with families, and I work with couples. That's the work I do. I look like how I am on this video right now. It's how I look in session. So you get a person that kind of talks to you at your level. I try to put my necklaces in my neck, so under my neck, so you don't see those. But that's besides the point. You get a chance to meet with someone who meets you where you're exactly at in life. If it's you want to talk about your traumas, we can talk about your traumas. If you want to talk about your stressors at your job, talk about your stressors. We can talk about home life, right? Maybe your wife get on your nerves. Maybe your girlfriend get on your nerves. Maybe your situationship get on your nerves. I can talk about that as well. For children, I can talk about grades. We can talk about their hobbies, their interests. Therapy is just a simple conversation. So as I'm on this camera talking to you guys and we're having a conversation and you're looking at me, is the same way therapy would look if you came into my office and we had a conversation as well. Men struggle with talking about their emotions due to the fact that we weren't taught vulnerability as kids. Not only not taught vulnerability, we weren't taught emotional intelligence, which basically emotional intelligence simply is understanding your emotions with understanding someone else's emotions. The hardest part about understanding your own emotions is actually sitting with yourself. So men don't get to talk about their own emotions because we've never been taught to sit with ourselves. We're taught to stay busy. We were taught to keep going and push through. We were taught to not talk about things because we're either soft or punk or consider something more than. So I believe men don't talk about their emotions because society taught us not to. And it's hard to actually open up and be open as a man, because once I do, that means I have to be vulnerable, and that means you have to see a side of me that I don't know sometimes. The biggest thing about childhood is we were all taught two different things, right? So most of the time, women are given the ability to feel, think, say. Men are given the ability to just act, right? So we're taught to act on our emotions or just talk our emotions. So as a child, when I had an emotion, if I fell down the ground and I cried, it was put some dirt on it, go back out and play. If I felt an emotion like anger, that was all the things that I was talked about, right? I'm angry, you're frustrated. No one ever talked about the other emotions like sadness or feeling overwhelmed or feeling excited. I can't show too much emotion as a man, because if I do as a child, now you're gonna make fun of me, you're gonna joke on me, you're gonna find a way to pick on me. So I can't show too many emotions. But if I show you anger, I know you won't mess with me too much. It kind of allows me to have a mask per se, where I cover up the real feelings of who I am, and I don't show who I really am. So you don't know. So I believe childhood affects that as well. I think as a man, fatherhood is an amazing thing, positively. You get to create a legacy. You get to show love, unconditional love. You get unconditional love out and unconditional love back. I believe as a man in fatherhood, you get to do things that even if you may have grown up without a father or with a father, not to do and what to do. So it's like passing down generational ideas, passing down things that your ancestors might have done and you don't even realize it. The negative parts, I would say, of being a father is it shows the things that you might have missed. So if you're a father and you didn't have a father, it's going to open up those wounds that you might not have healed properly. So sometimes children show you physical affection, and as a child, you may not have gotten physical affection. Now, as a father, you have to give out physical affection to that child, which negatively can affect you because you're like, why would they want affection? I didn't get affection. I was cool without having affection. I was able to still be who I am today and not get anything that they got. So I think the negative parts are that. The positive parts are, like I said, you get unconditional love out and in. You get the ability to have a rough day and someone walks up to you and says, I love you, daddy, or I appreciate you, daddy. Or no matter what you're going through, that smile or that hug from that little person changes your day. Sometimes changes your whole month. So I think that's the positive effects. The negative effects is healing those wounds that you might not have known you had. Some common signs of symptoms of depression for men, the biggest one is anger. Most people don't realize that men the only emotion we know is anger, so we don't show sadness. But anger is a big misconception of depression, which people don't realize that if a man is angry, it's not always because he wants to be angry. He might just be sad. He might just be overwhelmed. He might just be hiding something. So anger just is the emotion that actually is shown versus sadness or crying. So that's one. Men isolating and being to themselves is another one. The lovely cliche words of "I'm fine, I'm good, I'll be all right" are another sign of sometimes depression, because I don't want to talk about where I'm at in my life. Sometimes drinking is a big one for depression, or using drugs or marijuana. Another one is a sign of depression. Not eating properly. So if you know you have a man in your life and he is not eating, or he's just ignoring eating days on upon days. Typically, we're looking at about a 2-week span when it comes to depression symptoms. So if you see within 2 weeks a man not eating properly or losing weight, and you're like, you ain't been to the gym, you haven't been working out, your clothes look a little bit looser, your face looks a little bit more sunken in, that's another sign of depression. Sometimes I'll say this, and this is just being frank, sex being a thing that we don't like to do at all, and just kind of ignoring the physical affection of sex can be a sign of depression as well. The biggest thing for a partner to do for a man is to support them. Sometimes we as partners want to push their own things and how they would do on the man. I would try this, I would do this, or they weaponize therapy. If you don't go to therapy, I won't stay with you. But the best thing to do is support a man who's struggling, right? Sit with them, console them, sometimes hug them, sometimes give them a kiss, sometimes tell them how much they are as a man and give them words of affirmation and affirm them. You're doing well. You are enough. I appreciate your effort. Sometimes the simplest things matter the most to men. We kind of get sometimes into the effect of men don't like flowers, but men don't get flowers until they die. And so sometimes giving men just flowers can sometimes change their mindset as well. But I think the biggest thing as a partner you have to do is support. Put forth a support. Put forth an effort to support. Be present. And present doesn't always mean you got to sit with me for 3 hours. Sometimes we just be like, hey, I know you may need some time, but I'm here if you need me. Here's a message. Good morning. I love you. I appreciate you. Just something simple can change a man's outlook when he's struggling, especially from a partner's perspective.